Breaking today, shocking new details have emerged about why George and Amal Clooney ditched Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And what's most interesting is that this is the end of the celebrity friendship that really impacted Prince Harry. He thought he was going to be boys with Clooney for life. And then the couple ditched him for the real royals after a friendship which had actually got remarkably close, even though they had, quite wisely, I would say, from the Clooney's side of things, never been pictured publicly with Harry and Meghan. Yes, there they were turning up at the wedding. Quite rightly, they never got that public picture. This reporting from Aaron Tinney, the UK-based long-time tabloid journalist for Radar Online, who has revealed in intimate detail that the snub left Prince Harry reeling with embarrassment. So we're going to get into the details of this story with royal YouTube sensation according to Taz imminently. But first I want to take you through this fascinating new detail from Aaron Tinney, who writes Prince Harry is said to have been left humiliated by the collapse of his friendship with George Clooney, with insiders telling Radar Online the Duke of Sussex feels painfully frozen out by one of the world's most influential celebrity couples. He says that there has even been years, by the way. This is what's so mortifying, of Harry trying to rebuild contact because he believed George and Amal would become part of their inner circle. So you go back to the wedding, which Tinney reports shows that the appearance seemed at the time to reinforce the Sussexes' growing status as transatlantic celebrity power players. But he writes, in the years following the pair's Megxit and the Moni couple's move to California in 2020, many of those friendships reportedly faded. But insiders claimed Harry had taken the apparent loss of Clooney's friendship harder than almost any other. An insider telling the publication, of all the celebrity relationships that have quietly fizzled out since Harry and Meghan walked away from royal duties and reinvented themselves in California, this is unquestionably the one that has hit Harry hardest on a personal level and left him reeling with embarrassment that it's over. He truly believed George and Amal would become part of their inner circle for decades to come. In Harry's mind, they were not just famous acquaintances from the wedding guest list. He saw them as powerful friends who understood the pressures of global scrutiny, philanthropy, and public life in a way very few people could. Indeed, he thought there was a special bond between the couples, with the source adding, Harry was convinced they were building something meaningful together as two internationally recognized couples with similar values, political leanings, and ambitions to use their platforms for humanitarian causes. That is why the apparent distancing from George has been so bruising for him emotionally. He cannot understand how things went from private holidays, warm public praise, and regular contact to what feels like total silence. The fact there has never been a confrontation or proper explanation has left Harry feeling embarrassed, rejected, and deeply confused about where their bromance went wrong. Oh, I could tell him. You just sit me down with Harry and I could tell him. The Sussexes and Clooneys initially appeared inseparable after the royal wedding. Just months later, George and human rights lawyer Amal hosted Harry and Markle at their villa on Italy's Lake Como. And at that point, you know they're in. They're in when they get the Como villa invite. At the time, sources close to the actor insisted the two couples had formed a special bond. And yes, that briefing was from Clooney's side. Then you'll also remember Clooney publicly defended Markle. That was in 2019, when pregnant with Archie, accusing parts of the media of villainising her and comparing the treatment she received to the press harassment suffered by Princess Diana. But by 2023, cracks reportedly began to emerge. The Clooneys attended the King's Trust Awards in support of King Charles III, just months after the release of Harry's explosive memoir, Spare, while reports later surfaced claiming the Sussexes had been dropped from the guest list for the Hollywood power couple's Albie Awards. Another insider claimed attempts by Harry and Markle to reconnect have largely failed. Harry and Meghan have made several attempts over the past couple of years to reconnect with George and Amal, sometimes together and sometimes individually, but the response has been consistently lukewarm. Messages can sit unanswered for long periods, and when communication does happen, it is usually very polite but non-committal. There is always a scheduling issue, another engagement, or some reason why meeting up never quite materialised. Now, I love that. Can I just say I love that? And I'm no fan of the Clooneys, okay, who are awful woke lefties. I am no fan. I'm just being honest. Like the guy in ER, that's where it ends. However, I do love the fact that it is the Clooneys that are now delivering Harry and Meghan a taste of their own medicine. They're being ghosted. See how it feels? Not very nice, is it? But incredibly well deserved. And the Clooneys, actually, credit to them for never actually getting the public picture, which Harry and Meghan so desperately wanted. I am also told, by the way, the reason that this has hurt Harry so badly is because he really does connect Clooney with Princess Diana. You will remember in the days after Diana's death, Clooney really became the biggest international celebrity other than Tom Cruise to launch a lifelong campaign against the paparazzi. At the time, he was one of the most famous TV actors in the world. I want to bring in royal YouTube sensation according to Taz now. I mean, this is so mortifying for Harry and Meghan because you can just imagine, Tash, they are really the ones that tend to ghost people. So the fact that they are now being ghosted is really interesting to me because what the Clooneys have done here isn't have a big falling out. So there hasn't been a big bust up like the type of bust up there was with the Beckhams. The Clooneys are just shrewd operators and soon realised that Harry and Meghan were revolting grifters who were going to throw their own family under the bus, and they were desperate to get back in with the royal family, which worked, by the way, because Charles is all over them again. And so they just sort of quietly moved on. Oh yeah, we'll see you at some stage. You know, maybe we'll lend you our private jet again in 10 years' time. But it hasn't happened. And trust me, it will never happen.
Yeah, they've done it in such a way where they just completely cut them off. So it didn't allow any of these, tit for tat sort of celebrity arguments or, like people stir it up and they're like, oh, there's been a bit of a fallout. No, there was just absolutely nothing. And I think with Amal, there was the last time we saw her was when to do with the couple was when she did go to the baby shower over in New York. She apparently, I think, stumped up some money to go towards it alongside Serena. And there's one photograph when they were doing the floral arranging and Amal is there next to Meghan and Meghan just looks angry as she's flower arranging. It's Meghan, And it's funny that seems to have been the last time that they were ever seen together. We knew that they went to Lake Como as part of like their honeymoon afterwards, but I wonder if that was the final nail in the coffin, Meghan's behaviour, which was ridiculous when she was over in New York, spending all of that money, the way that she behaved, the way she was treating people, and of course that extremely huge bump that she had. And yeah, I don't know, there's definitely something that made George and Amal finally wake up. George was sympathetic when they left the royal family, but I believe that was George's loyalty to Diana as well, because he had always, like you said, he'd always been quite passionate about, the paparazzi and things like that. And perhaps that's why Harry thought, kindred spirit in him. But the fact that George defended her that one time, and then obviously when they continuously attacked the royal family, this wasn't the one interview that they said they were going to do when they appeared on Oprah. They just turned around and said, I don't actually think he defended them after Oprah. I think he initially defended Meghan when they first started the story, saying that they still wanted to be part of the monarchy. They just wanted to live in Canada. They wanted a quiet life. And I think that's when George was like, oh yeah, oh bless them. I'll defend them for a bit. But then it became more apparent that was just all a ruse. It was just one big con job, a smash and grab job. Harry and Meghan grabbed the titles, grabbed the cash, and then obviously wanted to flog it all in America. So he's steered clear from them. But I do find it funny because pretty much all of the A-listers that didn't know Harry and Meghan that were at the wedding have nothing to do with Harry and Meghan now. And they do work with the royal family. They are close to the royal family. You've got the Beckhams, for example. You've got the Elbas, Idris Elba. He was the DJ at Harry's wedding. And, it seems to be, and to be fair, I reckon if the king offered her to come for tea, she'd jump on a plane. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I do believe that most of the people that were there, they were only there because they wanted proximity to the royal family. It was never about Harry and Meghan. So as soon as Harry and Meghan started burning those bridges, they'd obviously just saw it as they're just grifters. They're a waste of time. We can't get anything from them. And then they went back to actually getting close to the royal family. I mean, at least Idris Elba and David Beckham, they actually do have their foundations themselves, especially Idris. He's working alongside the King's Foundation. But yeah, I do find it funny that all of those people that they invited that they didn't know to basically name drop But yeah, now they have nothing to do with them. It seems that Harry and Meghan just burn bridges with absolutely everybody in the end.
Well, absolutely. And the thing is, even though I do think George and Amal Clooney use a lot of their humanitarian work to push their own celebrity and business interest and profile, even they realised that Harry and Meghan were such faux humanitarians that it was just going to be bad for their brand.
They're toxic. They're toxic. Everything about those two is completely toxic. They can't be ambassadors for child online safety, for being eco-warriors. They can't, I mean, everything that Harry and Meghan have done since they left the royal family, they've shown themselves to be complete and utter hypocrites. I mean, Meghan just in Geneva, I mean, coming back from Geneva wanting to be taken seriously to do with child online safety, what does she do? She posts her daughter in her pajamas within 24 hours of her flying to Geneva to talk about child online safety. I mean, those two really are the masters of their own demise. They really, really are. And it is funny to watch this. It is funny to watch.
Well, she's moved on to another humanitarian now, Tash. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
It's Queen Esther who has done some brilliant work on this, posting Meghan Markle putting on the Angelina Jolie humanitarian face again. At this point, her public image feels like a collection of other women's identities. I thought this was a very good point, Tash. Princess Diana, Princess Catherine, Angelina Jolie, Emma Finn, the Marchioness of Bath. No one seems safe from becoming Meghan Markle's latest personality if they're famous or admired for something. What exactly is original? And I mean, some of those pictures, Tash, are just pretty damning, aren't they?
Yeah, of course they are. She's got no personality of her own. She is a mimic. She is a mimic. This is how Meghan builds her relationships with people. This is how she duped Harry. She mimicked Diana. This is what Meghan does. I mean, I'm sure a psychologist could diagnose it a bit better than what I could. But I believe that when Meghan says, today, Matthew, I'm going to be a humanitarian, she flicks through and goes, right, this is going to be my Angelina Jolie outfit. And then the next day she's like, right, I'm going to be today a fashionista. I'm going to wear clothes and pose exactly like Posh Spice, Lady Beckham. You know, she is just a continuous stream of a dressing up box. She's constantly trying on other people's skin, as it were. And it's creepy, but then at the same time, it's become comical because we can see it. You can see it all of the time. She's never once really, I don't think, shown her own personality. She's always trying to mimic or to copy someone because she's got nothing original about her.
Interesting details has also emerged this week, Tash, about more of the fallout between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Zara, and Mike Tyndall. And, you know, I was very much aware of their falling out post 2020. And so much of it was to do with the way that they were just disgusted with how Harry and Meghan had treated the late Queen. And there was that very famous scene on the steps of St. Paul's Cathedral when Mike just would not go anywhere near Harry. And I know for a fact he was absolutely disgusted. And they were both disgusted and horrified. But what's interesting is that this week, Tom Sykes of the Royalist podcast for the Daily Beast has revealed that the fallout actually went back to the wedding day, Tash. And it was because of the fact that Zara made that funny face during the very, very lengthy sermon. Watch this.
The relationship between the Tyndalls and the Sussex is an interesting one. It was badly damaged, I'm told, at Harry and Meghan's wedding in 2018, when Zara, you may recall, was photographed pulling a barely concealed, horrified face during the sermon, which was delivered by an American Episcopal Bishop, Michael Curry, very senior churchman in America. His address sort of treated the congregation at Windsor Castle to this remarkable 14-minute meditation on the power of love that was slightly unusual. I left several royals, including Zara, peeking through their fingers. Mike's a straight talker. They balance the private and the public very well. Zara is not an HRH at her mother Princess Anne's request. Prince Harry, maybe take note.
I mean, Tash, it just shows you how ludicrously sensitive they were, how they were looking for reasons to fall out with royals at the time.
I believe Meghan would have been fueling that one. I believe it would have been perfect for Meghan to turn Harry against yet another family member that she knows she's close with. Whilst there's lots of things that I do not blame Meghan for with Harry's behaviour and his decisions and his actions, she definitely manipulated him. So the first people that he fell out with had to be Catherine, because she was a female influence in his life. He had obviously grown very, very close to her. He saw her as a sister. For Meghan, that was a threat. She needed to control him. So for seeing something like this pop up at the wedding, I believe she would have been, look at her face, I can't believe she did that, that's humiliating for us. She would have definitely been that bug in his ear, so then he would have said something. And the thing is, it was in the 20s that day. Meghan got a very, very lucky wedding day in May. It was hot sunshine. Zara was heavily pregnant. She was heavily pregnant, and she had to sit there throughout all of that. Loads of the royals, lots of people were hot, they were stuffy. Of course, they were all dressed up in their, their beautiful outfits and stuff. She had a hat on, and she was ready to pop. I think she gave birth not too long after that, I think, from memory. But Zara, I'm not surprised she was pulling faces, being stuck there listening to that. I mean, it was so ridiculous anyway, the type of sermon that was put on. But then that was Harry and Meghan's spectacle for the world anyway, which she later complained about. But yeah, I'm not surprised there were lots of people pulling faces. I remember watching a bit of it on the TV thinking, where have they got this guy from?
And of course, it's not just Zara and Mike Tyndall, as is proven by the drama around Peter Philip's wedding to lovely Harriet Sperling, which is taking place, Tash, next weekend.
Yes,
but of course, there's been a lot of drama, given that Harry and Meghan were not invited. And that was very much a signal, I believe, from the young royals saying, we have all made this judgment against you. But of course, perhaps more awkward in a way, Tash, is the Beatrice and Eugenie situation, because they were invited, they RSVP'd, yes, but the latest reports, Tash, are that because of the new claims against Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the extended police investigation, they're not going to show. And that is quite, I mean, whatever you think about the situation, I'm quite critical of these two women in a lot of ways, but it's quite a horrendous way that they are having to live their life, isn't it? Deciding whether to go to a family event based on what headlines are out there about Andrew, which frankly they cannot control. That's not a nice way for them to have to live.
I think that they should go. They're very close with Peter. They're close with Harriet. They're close with Zara. They are close as cousins. And yes, okay, there are certain things to do with Beatrice and Eugenie's, how much involvement they had with their fathers and their mums as well, financial dodgy dealings. I think that for them to ever be involved in any sort of royal life, I think they need to have some sort of clear financial audit to prove their innocence with regards to that. But this is a family wedding. They should be able to go, and I hope that they do go, because I'm sure that Peter would probably want them there because they are close to them. And, they are a family at the end of the day. And there's certain things, like I said, I wouldn't want to see Beatrice and Eugenie at the moment undertaking royal duties until there has been more of a clearer look into how much they knew and how much they were involved with certain things. Have they benefited financially is a big thing. But this is a family wedding. Andrew going, well, that's a whole different kettle of fish. You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want that rain cloud over your wedding day whatsoever. Of course you wouldn't. You saw his behaviour when he went to the Duchess of Kent's funeral, pushing himself to the front so he'd be photographed looking like he was accepted with the family. William and Catherine got his number, but he still behaved quite badly given everything. But that's Andrew. But I hope they do go to it, because I don't believe that they should never be allowed to do anything with their family. It is a wedding. But of course, what we're seeing in the media as well is obviously Harry and Meghan not going. And I just want to add to that, this isn't the first wedding that Harry and Meghan haven't been invited to. You know, that more recently, Charles Spencer, Uncle Charles Spencer, Harry stayed with him not that long ago. Apparently, when he came over, he stayed at Althorp. And then you've got even people that were at Harry and Meghan's wedding, you know, former friends of Harry's. Lord Vivian, he got married. He didn't invite Harry to his wedding. Then you had the Duke of Westminster. They didn't invite Harry and Meghan to their wedding. And, you know, it all comes up at the time saying, oh, well, that, you know, they had to choose. They felt forced to do it. Or even better, when Harry and their team spins it saying, oh, they decided to decline. No, you weren't invited because you have behaved awfully and treated a lot of people very, very badly. And people just do not want you there. And as I said, you know, Meghan, she will take over everybody's wedding, everybody's funeral, and everybody's christening. Meghan will make sure that she's the star of the show. Whether she's flashing a bra, she will come out with another potential pregnancy announcement, even if she doesn't do it, but just to make people talk. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if she shoved a cushion under her dress, put it that way. But yeah, those two are incapable of letting the light fall on other people, as it were. So I'm not surprised they haven't got an invite, but...
Very true, Tash. One other thing I want to discuss this week, there's been a lot of scrutiny about Prince Harry's finances of late, but I still think the worries that King Charles is feeling about Harry is going under the radar, but I know it's true. This from Closer magazine in the UK. As Prince Harry's cash crisis is revealed, they pose this question: will King Charles really bail him out? An insider quoted as saying, Harry and Charles are in touch. They are even having long conversations, and Harry is very transparent with his father about how tough things has been. Harry really needs to find a big chunk of money to bail out Invictus right now. He needs his father's help. There are the issues with Invictus. The Australian government has pulled funding, and now they've got to find replacement money. And on a personal level, the monthly expenses are massive. And as everyone knows, nearly all their deals have fallen apart. Speculation has been ramping up for months now that the Sussexes could be facing their toughest period yet when it comes to continuing to fund their Montecito lifestyle, which is reported to cost in the region of $3 to $6 million per year, which includes the payments for their sprawling Montecito home. Now, Tash, what's interesting, I think, about this is that I actually do believe that there probably is a degree of contact. I don't think it is quite as much as that. But does Harry eventually probably acknowledge that he's going to be having his begging bowl out? I would say yes. And does that terrify King Charles? Absolutely it does. For good reason, because he doesn't want to be put into a position, Tash, where he is having to say no to giving Harry money.